Welcome back. In my previous video, I had explained about Zeeman effect, Zeeman shift, types of Zeeman effect, differences between normal and anomalous Zeeman effect, and the experimental arrangement to observe normal Zeeman effect. In this video, I'll be explaining the theory of normal Zeeman effect on the basis of vector atom model, and hence I'll be deriving the expression for Zeeman shift in terms of frequency and wavelength. We know that the total angular momentum of an electron is the sum of orbital angular momentum and spin angular momentum, or simply electron spin. But normal Zeeman effect is observed only in those atoms which have even number of electrons, or in those atoms whose net spin momentum is equal to 0. Therefore, if we neglect the spin of the electron, the only angular momentum is due to its orbital motion. The orbital angular momentum is usually represented by PL, or sometimes it is also represented as capital L. I have used the notation PL here. The orbital angular momentum is quantized. Therefore, we can write PL is equal to L into h by 2 pi, where L is the orbital quantum number and h is Planck's constant. The corresponding magnetic moment, which is usually represented by mu L, can be written as minus L into EH by 4 pi m, or minus E by 2m into L into H by 2 pi. L into H by 2 pi here can be replaced by PL. Therefore, mu L is equal to minus E by 2m into PL. In this equation, E represents charge of the electron and m represents mass of the electron. The negative sign here indicates that the magnetic moment vector is always in a direction opposite to the direction of the angular momentum vector. Both the vectors PL and mu L will be perpendicular to the plane of the orbit. When an external magnetic field B is applied, the vector PL will start precessing around the direction of the magnetic field, as shown in this figure. So this vector represents the orbital angular momentum vector. Magnetic field is applied in the z direction. Now when the magnetic field is applied, this orbital angular momentum will start revolving around the direction of the magnetic field like this, as shown by this arrow. Now the trajectory of this revolution or this precession will be like a cone in 3 dimensions. This precession is called Larmor precession. The effect of this precession is to change the energy of the system by an amount dE given by omega L PL cos theta, where omega L represents the Larmor precessional velocity or the angular velocity of Larmor precession, and theta is the angle between orbital angular momentum vector and the direction of the magnetic field as shown in this diagram. Larmor precessional velocity is given by omega L is equal to EB by 2m. On rearranging this, omega L by B is equal to E by 2m. From equation 2, that is the equation of magnetic moment vector, we have E by 2m equals to minus mu L by PL. Cross multiplication gives omega L PL equal to minus mu L into B. Now we can replace omega L PL by minus mu L into B in equation 3 for the change in energy, and the equation 3 becomes dE is equal to minus mu L into B cos theta. We know that the projection of the orbital angular momentum vector on the direction of the magnetic field is always represented by PLZ. So in this diagram, this is the orbital angular momentum vector PL, and this is the direction of the magnetic field. The angle between the two is equal to theta. Now, the component of this magnetic orbital angular momentum vector in the direction of the magnetic field is PL cos theta, which is also equal to PLZ. Therefore, PLZ is equal to PL cos theta. I have represented here different orientations of the orbital angular momentum vector about the direction of the magnetic field. Also, each vector will have its own projection on the direction of the magnetic field, and you can see these projections represented by PLZ are quantized. Therefore, I can write PLZ is equal to ML into h by 2 pi, where ML is equal to magnetic orbital quantum number. For a given value of L, ML can take 2L plus 1 values. Combining these two equations, cos theta can be written as ML by PL into h by 2 pi. Let this be equation number 7. Now, substituting equation 2 and equation 7. Equation 2 is the equation for magnetic moment vector, and equation 7 is the equation for cos theta. Substituting both the equations in this equation, d is equal to minus mu L B cos theta, we have, so this term inside the bracket represents mu L and this term represents cos theta. So dE becomes equal to minus of minus E by 2m PL into B ML by PL into h by 2 pi. On rearranging this, we have dE is equal to EB by 4 pi m h into ml, which can be written as nu L h ml. So the expression for change in energy becomes nu L h ml, where nu L represents the Larmor frequency given by EB by 4 pi m. The equation number 8 is the expression for change in energy, which also represents that each energy level of the undisturbed state of the atom, that is in the absence of magnetic field, is split into sub-energy levels under the action of magnetic field. That is, if E0 and E are the energy states of an atom corresponding to an orbital quantum number L without and with external magnetic field respectively, then E is equal to E0 plus dE. This term represents dE here. Therefore, E is equal to E0 plus nu L h ml. Similarly, for another energy state of the atom corresponding to an orbital quantum number L dash, E dash is equal to E0 dash plus nu L into h into ml dash. Under the influence of the external magnetic field, each of the above energy levels split into 2L plus 1 and 2L dash plus 1 sub-energy levels respectively. When the transition takes place between these sub-levels, the frequency of the spectral line is given by nu is equal to E dash minus E divided by h. Substituting for E dash and E from these two equations, the equation can be simplified to nu is equal to nu naught plus nu L into delta ml, where nu naught is equal to E naught dash minus E naught divided by h, and delta ml is equal to ml dash minus ml. The transitions between the sub-energy levels are governed by certain selection rules. The selection rules applicable to ml are delta ml is equal to 0 or plus or minus 1. When delta ml is equal to 0, the spectral line will have the frequency nu is equal to nu naught. When delta ml is equal to plus 1, nu will be equal to nu naught plus nu L, and when delta ml is equal to minus 1, nu will be equal to nu naught minus nu L. As you can see in this figure, this part of the figure represents the transition in the absence of magnetic field. So we consider two energy levels E0 and E0 dash of an atom. The energy level E0 corresponds to L is equal to 0 and energy level E0 dash corresponds to L is equal to 1, and there is a single transition with energy h nu naught from L is equal to 1 to L is equal to 0 in the absence of magnetic field, which gives rise to a single spectral line with frequency nu naught. When a strong magnetic field is applied, the energy level E0 will remain the same because for L is equal to 0, ml is also equal to 0. But the energy level corresponding to L is equal to 1 splits into 3 sub-levels because for L is equal to 1, ml can take 3 different values. ml is equal to plus 1, ml is equal to 0 and ml is equal to minus 1. Now the transition between these sub-levels are according to the selection rule delta ml is equal to 0 or delta ml is equal to plus or minus 1. The central line here corresponds to the transition for which delta ml is equal to 0. The corresponding spectral line has the frequency nu naught, same as that of the parent line or original line. The line which is drawn here, the transition which is shown on to the right, corresponds to the transition for which delta ml is equal to plus 1, and the corresponding spectral line has the frequency nu is equal to nu naught plus nu L. Similarly, the transition shown here to the left corresponds to delta ml is equal to minus 1 and the corresponding frequency of the spectral line is nu naught minus nu L. So as you can see here, a single spectral line splits into 3 component lines which are symmetrically placed about the central line. These 2 lines are symmetrically placed about the central line. So the frequency separation here is plus nu L and in this direction it is minus nu L. So nu L represents frequency shift, which is also the Larmor frequency. Therefore, frequency shift is given by d nu, which is equal to plus or minus nu L, the Larmor frequency, which is equal to plus or minus EB by 4 pi m. To represent the Zeeman shift in terms of wavelength, we'll write this equation nu is equal to c by lambda, where c is the velocity of light in free space. Differentiating this expression, we have d nu is equal to minus c by lambda square into d lambda, or d lambda is equal to minus lambda square by c into d nu. Substituting for d nu from this expression, we have d lambda is equal to minus or plus be lambda square divided by 4 pi mc. So these 2 equations, that is equation number 11 and equation number 12, represent the equations for Zeeman shift in terms of frequency and wavelength respectively. As you can see in both the equations, that is frequency shift and wavelength shift equations. The Zeeman shift depends on the strength of the magnetic field. That is, if you increase the strength of the magnetic field, d nu or d lambda, both will increase. This is because as the strength of the magnetic field increases, the splitting of the energy level will be more. This I can explain using the previous diagram. So here, when the strength of the magnetic field is increased, the splitting will increase. That is, the separation between these energy levels will increase. This results in increase in the transitional energies, and hence these separations will increase. That is, the separation between these component lines will increase. Similarly, if we decrease the strength of the magnetic field, this separation between these sub-energy levels will decrease, which decreases the transitional energies and in turn decreases the separation between the component lines. Hence, the vector atom model successfully explains the observed Zeeman effect, observed normal Zeeman effect, and it also explains the dependence of the magnetic field on Zeeman shift. Thank you.